Self-Help Africa is an Anglo-Irish agriculture aid agency working in Zambia for the past 22 years. Our focus is on building skills and capacities in rural small-scale farmers. I would say we're being guided under the philosophy of farming is a business and it must be approached as a business regardless of how small or big a farmer is. The Eastern Province for us has been a very strategic region, firstly because it already has agriculture embedded as a living or as a livelihood, as a form of livelihoods. And agriculture is very strongly embedded in the cultures of the people of Eastern Province. But supported by that is the fact that they have very good soils, lots of wetlands, and also we took advantage of the international linkages that exist for us as Self-Help Africa, in that we have an office in Malawi. So the linking the two has been very easy by us doing work in the Eastern Province.
Self-Help Africa has been implementing a project known as Project for Reduction of Poverty since 2006. It is a 5-year project, which means it will be coming to a close in December this year. PROP as a project is actually funded by the European Union and Self-Help Africa. So European Union has provided 75% of the funds, whilst Self-Help Africa provides the 25%. Its main objective is to significantly reduce poverty in the target districts of Chipata and Lundazi district. And in this regard, we've been targeting 5,000 households. Specifically, we have been striving to increase the incomes of these target households, thereby significantly reducing their poverty. We have 4 main result areas under PROP. The first one being improved basic business skills, and the second one has to do with improved financial services. The third one is community enterprise development, whilst the fourth one concerns increasing capacity of the local institutions we've been working with. Self-Help Africa has been implementing the project for reduction of poverty in partnership with 2 local partners, looking at their expertise in the area of microfinance and also rural livelihoods. So in this regard, we are working with Tilakuwili Sustainable Agriculture Project, and also we are working with Microbankers Trust.
Microbankers Trust works in partnership with Self-Help Africa in a lot of projects around Zambia, and Microbankers Trust is one of the implementing partners in the project for the reduction of poverty in Zambia, and specifically in Eastern Province, which includes Chipata and Lundazi. Microbankers Trust is implementing a focus area called expanded access to financial services.
Tilakuwili Sustainable Agriculture Project started way back in 1985. At the moment, we are working with Self-Help Africa. We've been working with this project since 2005.
In terms of improving basic business skills of the rural communities we work with, one, we realize that we work with rural people who are based in the rural areas of Chipata and Lundazi district, and their mainstay is agriculture. So in looking at improving their basic business skills, they have to undergo some kind of training, which is going to emphasize that, one, looking at their mainstay agriculture, they ought to take it as a business, meaning they need to know what is involved in growing the different crops, but also the costs associated with the growing of different crops, so that those crops are profitable to them. They ought to be food secure, but at the same time raise enough income for them to improve their livelihood. So there's a special package of simple basic business skills which is given to these people in terms of training.
And I've come here as a facilitator simply because of the nature of the work that we do as Microbankers Trust. From the first meetings, all along what they've been learning, they've been implementing all the things that they've acquired through training. One example would be when we go to record keeping, you find they try as much as possible to follow all the basics of how to keep quality records. At the same time, what they learned on how to save, how to buy shares, they have shares. All these things they've been learning through sitting in classrooms, and then the field officers, they also supplement the same training when they go to meet them. You find others have scaled up in terms of production. If someone was only producing 2 bags of maize, as an example, this time they've diversified.
Chamene namverapo ine namverapo ati muntu ngati afuna kunkhala mu village bank funikira kunkhala na mashares, afunika kunkhala na mashares, then ye pamene angatenge loan, then balast paka ina yaja mashares yamankhala na profit dividend. Ine ndine mai wa bana 5 kakhalidwe apa akasintha vana vamaenda bwinobwino ku school, nimakwanisa kuvapereka even ku boarding school, then avendangu vali pa basic school vamaenda mshemushe, ma uniforms nikwanisa kubagulira mshemushe, ma books vonse chabe, nangu kakhalidwe chabe kapa nyumba kasintha. Nkudya nkhuku, nikumwa tea kuseni, then kubwera munga kumakhalidwe chabe, so munga nyumba yanga apa ndinaichitawali nifuna odonsesa malaiti.
Another result area which PROP has been working on in the last 5 years is the one which sought to establish successful community enterprises. And there what we were looking at was to see how best we can group the different enterprises which the beneficiary communities were working on in a bid to improve them, to market them, and to increase production. For instance, a number of farmers would be involved in vegetable gardening, and depending on their location, would group them together as a producer group for vegetables, and then would try as much as possible to look at issues pertaining to how we can increase their production in terms of the different kinds of training which would offer to these vegetable farmers. Yes, so some of the farmers were involved in the rearing of pigs, some of them were rearing goats, some of them chickens, some of them rabbits. So we had to form producer groups according to the type of livestock they were rearing. And we did offer training in terms of animal husbandry on how best they can look after the animals, how best they can treat their animals in terms of diseases and in terms of the actual production. And what we also did was to try and link these particular livestock producer groups to markets. There were people who could come and buy goats, they could come and buy some pigs directly from the farmers, but there were also some institutions like hospitals, boarding schools, the teacher training colleges who would want the meat delivered to them. We also went a step further in terms of animal husbandry, in terms of production, to introduce the person, the gift scheme.
We've established a revolving fund where livestock, small livestock, are given to the farmers. They bring back, and then after paying back, we give out to other farmers as well. Yeah, what happened is the PROP assisted us with some funds to put up the piggery unit, constructed the piggery unit, and then also helped us in acquiring improved breeds of pigs, the breeding stock. All that was bought by PROP. The pigs, as they multiply, those we hand over to the communities, to the groups, so that as they multiply also, they pay back, then we give to other groups again. So it continues. So that program will continue even without PROP being there, even when it phases out. So we have this revolving fund establishment that will still continue.
Another key result area which the project for reduction of poverty has been working through is that of expanded access to financial services. And there basically what we tried to do was to establish local financial institutions rooted in the community. We do realize that one of the hindrances which the local people face or which the rural people face in trying to improve their businesses is the issue of lack of finance or lack of capital.
We do this through the formation of accumulated savings and credit associations. In short, we call them ASCAs. Through these ASCAs, all the communities and all the people are organized and are involved in the activities of the ASCAs. And the main purpose of the ASCAs is to provide some financial services to the individual ASCA members who are in need of financial services. So after the ASCAs have the capacities, we have trained them, they amalgamate and form what we call financial associations, whereby a number of ASCAs come together and they form one group. The main function is to provide some financial services to the ASCAs and of course to improve the savings of the people that are shareholders in the financial association. The building that you saw yesterday is actually a village bank. It's a bank for the Chazamkati Financial Association. The main purpose of that bank is to provide and offer some financial services to the people around that area. As you may be aware that the commercial banks are very far from that area, about 30 km away from the Boma.
Iyi association inafomingiwa kuchokera mu groups yosiyana-siyana. Tinali ma groups, by that time tinali ma groups chabe yanali 7 yamene tinachita organize yamene vanatipunzisa va MBT zama savings na mwamene tingasungire ndrama na mwamene tingachitire ma business yathu. So pamene vanatipunzisa tinayamba mu ma ASCAs yathu ndiponso vanabola vatipunzisa kuti tinkhale pamozi tisankhe tipange FA. So tinakhala na ma elections. Ayo ma elections tinachitira pamene pano pa Makwatata. Then tinali uzinga ma ballot papers kuchita elect machani kuti tipange vote. So pamene yanasira masankho ine napezeka kuti napambana pamzanga wamene tinayimbira naye. Manje tinaleka kuvutika mwamene tezovutikira tezosowekera ndalama nangu zachigaza kuti tipitirize vana ku skulu tezosowekera. Pali Lomba tili na 35 million.
Business yanga ninayamba natenga kwa 300,000 kuloni nabwera nalima yamene nalima ija yamene natengako mulimi after nagulisa katundu na 300 yamene natenga kuloni nafaka pamozi nochita business. So ndiye business yamene mwaona naona kuti development yambo kula kaja kashopu kachepa ndrama zambo nipakira. So ndiye panakamati nimange ikulu kulingana na ndrama zenda zipaka. Nikubapunzisa kuti ayi batengeko mbali na weve mavuto yazabachepekera pa umoyo wao. Chifukwa ise bakazi tima kumana na mavuto ya mbili manje ngati uthandizika utengako ndrama kwa ASCA izi uthandizika manga usebenzesha mwachilungamo upeza so kumana na mavuto yayi.
But also central to this result area is the role of the community volunteers. These are people who are based in the rural communities themselves. They are part of the beneficiaries of the PRO project, but they've been carefully selected amongst the beneficiaries by the beneficiaries themselves. Okay, they've forwarded their names to the project, and it's up to the project staff now to train these people as the resource which should be available within the communities themselves. So the community volunteers have been trained by the project in different aspects, in facilitation skills, in the training of trainers. They've undergone a training of trainers in terms of the basic business skills. They've also undergone some training in terms of basic agriculture so that they are able to facilitate different kinds of project activities within the target areas so that we have the resource which is rooted within the community, and then it offers this kind of facilitation to the other target beneficiaries.
Yamba ni community volunteer facilitator wa saving and credit management. Nima wapunzisa kuti mwanga tengere nkongole na mwanga sungire ndarama nima punzisa kwanirisa na ya seed multiplication ni uchitisha so yu vantu otenga ma seed pa seed zikuya churukira sono ndizonse ntchito zangu ndizochita mu community.
Our fourth result area looks at increasing the capacity of the local institutions, the local partners we're working with under this initiative. And what we've done is we have tried to look at the staff capacity, because the local partners have engaged the staff to implement the different activities. So we've had to train the staff, the facilitators, the project managers in different areas of project management. We've also had to train the administrators in the areas of financial management just to ensure the financial systems are in place. We've also trained the facilitators in facilitation skills, training for transformation, and also the aspect of reporting, project management. All this is meant to enhance the capacities of the local institutions so that they are better able to perform. We've also moved a step further to train the board members of these institutions so that they equally understand what their organization is, what it is doing, and also especially as it is part of this project. So the board members have had to undergo training in terms of their roles, their responsibilities. We've also funded their exposure trips so that they go into the field, they see, they interact with other beneficiaries, so that they see also how their facilitators are faring in the field. We also looked at which commodities in the project area where we're working from had the potential in terms of bringing in income to the beneficiary communities. And we did a market assessment right at the beginning of the project. And 2 products were identified as having a lot of potential in terms of increasing the income of the target beneficiaries. And these were honey and sunflower.
We were promoting the sunflower production in the process, also promoting the processing of sunflower so that the farmers are able to get more benefits from the sunflower than they were before the project. Before the project, farmers used to sell their sunflower per kg at 500 kwacha. A bag of 50 kg, when you put in sunflower, it weighs about 30 kgs. So they were able to get only 15,000 kwacha from there. So after the project came in, we started training them, gross margin budget. They realized that they were losing a lot. So they started processing the sunflower, where they were able to get a 10-liter cooking oil from a bag of 30 kgs. From that 10 liter, they were able to sell the 10 liters about 70,000 kwacha, which was a lot of benefit for the farmers.
So sunflower tunayamba kulima. So tinzinankhana vuto pamozi tingapeza tumathumba twambiri tenzogulisa chabe. So tinaga pansi na mtrakuyi tingachite bwanja kuti ene sunflower mugule kachigayo zisikini. So mwamene ninaguya kachigayo noyamba usikini. So apa ngati wachosa ka 50 kgs aka akokowana pa scale 30 kgs ya sunflower. Kachosa 10 liters ya oil, cooking oil, salad 10 liters. Ngati tankhala pasi so watenga imozi chabe bottle wamba upima mkachido so kang'ono kaja ka 500 tipeza kuti bottle ya ichosa 13,000. So 13 times 30 bottles yamene inkhala muja mka contain nichitapeza phindu pambana na kuti tigulise sunflower pa 15,000 per bag.
Other than that, we've also moved a step further to train in the areas of HIV/AIDS. As you're aware, there's no development project here in Zambia which you can talk of successfully without looking at the issues of HIV/AIDS, which are cross-cutting issues. So other than training the staff themselves in HIV/AIDS, the board members have undergone that, and including the project beneficiaries. As a project, also PROP has emphasized on the issue of gender as a cross-cutting issue. We've also ensured that we're gender sensitive right from the targeting aspect, in that 60% of the project beneficiaries are female. But also we've tried to look at this issue of gender equality by ensuring that the female, who are usually downtrodden in most of these rural communities, are also sensitized together with their male counterparts, that they can also rise to the challenge and also take leadership position in the different groupings, in the different associations in which they are involved in. So we've tried as much as possible that all the target beneficiaries are also trained and also made fully aware of this aspect of gender.
I think poverty has been reduced in the sense that if you go around to the beneficiaries, you get different stories on their successes. For example, before the project, the farmers were mostly concentrating on conventional farming, where the rains, like now rains are about to come, they will just concentrate on the farming, the field operations. And after the field operations, after harvesting, they will relax. But this time we find that they have no time to relax. As they are doing their field operations, side by side they are doing some businesses. Some have got groceries, some doing some barter system where they buy carpenter and exchange either maize or they sell for money. So this is going side by side with their farming operations, which was not the case before. And at the same time, we find that after harvest, most farmers, they go to the gardens, what we call off-season production, which was not there before. Right now, we find that there are many farmers that after harvesting, they grow a lot of cash crops in the gardens, and they're able to raise their income. So even when you look at their livelihoods, at their homes, they will tell you that previously, maybe they never used to have 3 meals per day, just a meal. But this time, they are able to have 2 or 3 meals per day, and even able to send their children to school, which was not the case before. The knowledge is in the field through the community volunteers. At the same time, we are linking up with the government, the extension workers. This time, whenever we have team building meetings where we call the community volunteers, the extension workers are also invited to ensure that they know what we are doing. They also get to know the CVs, which is the community volunteers in their areas.
Even if you move out, but since the financial association are still there, they're established, we'll be able to continue what we are doing and be able to continue offering some financial services to the people.
Our system of implementing through local partners is a key component in ensuring sustainability. Although the project comes to an end and Safe Web Africa will not be there to provide the backstopping for monitoring, the local partners will still be working in those areas with the same communities, and we also work through the Ministry of Agriculture. All our extension support is through the Ministry of Agriculture. So those structures are already in place. They work there and they will always be working there. So what we really do is we just use their footprint to input and to add capacity. So we are really just leaving a footprint that will continue to have an impact there. And we hope that other organizations will be coming in to support those same structures to ensure that the work that we have done will continue. My final words would be, of course, to our partners now. We always say that when we enter an area, we are talking about beneficiary and we're talking about targeted communities. But I think at this point, they are really our partners because we know that together we have learned a lot, we've shared a lot, and now they can actually call on us to advise us on what next needs to be done. So we just like to urge them to continue to carry on. And that at the end of the day, the whole purpose of this is to really for them to take the challenge of developing themselves into their own hands. And we hope that we've contributed to that process. We'd also like to thank our partners, Tilakubili and MBT, for the work that they've done in helping us put this together. And of course, I think our biggest gratitude goes to the EU delegation in Zambia for actually having allowed us and given us the trusted in us enough to allow us to handle this budget for the last 5 years. So we would like to thank you, everyone, and of course I would like to personally thank you, my team in Safe Web Africa for the hard work that they've done.